I'm not sure. Let me know if you guys can hear me. OC, I think I'm going to go ahead and bring you up. I'm not sure what's going on. Talk to me.
Yeah, go ahead. You should have audio. Testing, testing, testing.
Yeah, we had an audio issue for sure. Guys, I'm going to have to cut this. We're going to reboot, look for a new link. If you guys can hear me, I'm going to go ahead and drop it here. Can you guys hear me? You hear us good? Oh, they can hear us both. Okay, well, I can't hear you very well, OC, so hopefully I can get that fixed throughout the show. I'm going to go ahead and kick it over to you, let you jump in and talk about what you're seeing on Bitcoin, and then we'll come back because I've got some audio issues. Didn't want to load today. API or whatever, the webhook for the server was not connecting. So yeah, we're good. We're good. We're going to stay right here with you guys because you guys can hear us. I just can't hear OC, but we're going to get that over. OC, let's go ahead and kick it over to you. Let's look and see what's going on Bitcoin, man. Let's go.
Absolutely. So, guys, thank you so much for joining. Let's take a look at what's happening on Bitcoin. Because throughout the weekend is basically this is a daily, so we're looking at a couple, right? On this, there's a couple of those that I want to bring to your attention. The big megaphone right here that we've been tracking for a long time, especially since we start hovering over that area of resistance. Look at that, it acted as a support and as a resistance, then again as a support, back as a resistance, and finally broke through. We were also tracking throughout this trend line. Again, look at that, at support at this point, fighting once again between the rock and the hard place, between this trend line and this other megaphone top, right, which is another trend line. Let's zoom in because at this point, this candle is not looking good. If we start closing like that, this will be an inverted hammer, and usually that start calling out tops, all right? It wouldn't be the end of Bitcoin. Look at that. I mean, we could have some of those, but at this point, it's looking like it's getting exhausted. So let's go back into the lower time frames on the 4 hours. There we go. We already have an inverted hammering here. Oh, let me just move this out of the way. Perfect. Here it is. This is the candle one, and it is pointing downwards as we have had before. Look at the decision candle, doji candle. This is normal usually in these kind of patterns at the top of other patterns. So we have a rising wedge on a rising megaphone, right? I mean, that is an inception pattern. So what do we have in here? Also, look at your oscillator. Your oscillator has two different bearish divergences starting from the same point, ending in different points, and we are on the red cloud, which means the most immediate movement should be to the downside, but still we have enough momentum to keep pushing to the upside, and that is why this range is slightly tilted to the upside because we are above our zero line in here. All right, so despite we are in the bearish retracement, and you can see that bearish retracement happening here, well then we can still have some bullish momentum kicking up. What is going to be what is up, Piper? I see you in there. How is it going, my friend? Can you hear me now?
I can. We're good now. Audio's good. You can just rock on, bro.
Absolutely great. So the only thing that we're going to be looking for throughout the day, throughout these couple of days, which is going to be Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, it's going to be the flip of the ribbon at the zero line or the crossover of that ribbon through the zero line. So how are we going to be defining that? Well, then let's bring up our support and resistances. Let's see, do we have anything here? Yes, of course. So I'm going to be looking for some sort of support around here. And then I'm going to be trying it to longer TP1, TP2, and then trailing to the upside. If I lose this trend line or this support zone, I'm going to be looking for the next area of bounce. So there we go, somewhere around here. And then I'm going to be looking for a continuation to the downside. How far low? Well, then you see, guys, that I have another support line or another alert here at 100K or 896,000. All right. So let me just start cleaning my chart up, and let me show you one of the tricks that we learned in trading with OC, which was calculating the retracement. Right. So I usually look for the movement and then aim at the half point of it. But something that I have picked up from Alex on crypto, it is also that we should be looking at one of the thirds. So if we divide this in 3 spots, so 1, 2, and 3, we should be looking at this area in here, which is our first bouncing zone. So this is going to be my first entry for a breakout retest. And then finally, I'm going to be looking into this other one in case this line doesn't hold, all right? So just a little bit of food for thought here. I'm going to be locking this in and then just making it a little bit less, I don't know, hard to see, right? Because it's just way too opaque at this point. I think that looks nice. All right, other than that, let me pass it over to you, Piper, because I think we have a lot of news that we need to that happen throughout the week.
Holy smokes, do we have a lot. And yeah, sorry about all the issues this morning, guys. We're up though. We're running now. We're good to go. OC, appreciate you breaking that down. Yeah, I want to jump into the news. We had some data come out this weekend on China deal. There's a China deal now. We actually have one now. So that's going to be going on for 90 days. I want to break all that down, talk about these resistance levels, and then I'll come back to the Bitcoin chart, show you guys what I'm watching on there. Let's go ahead and jump over into the news, and we'll get rolling on that because we do have a lot of data coming out this week. And over to the news. Let's go. All right, guys, taking a look at the news today. Right now, let's go to the Into The Cryptoverse dashboard here. Link down below. If you guys don't follow this stuff, I talk about this stuff all the time in our Discord. And yeah, it's just his macro analysis that he does in here, and then I mean macro, not like economy, but like macro, like long-term on crypto, is absolutely on point. Looking at crypto market cap right now, $3.375 trillion. Trend on that is at $3.777 trillion. Undervaluation right now is only 10.65. You guys remember when this was like 30%? Yeah, absolutely, just crushing it. It is DCA Monday here at the Discord Piper Academy. And so, guys, that would be a ×2 today. We did a ×2 DCA today. I went ahead and picked it up because I don't want to wait for Tuesday. With all the bullish news that's out right now, I decided that I'm going to go ahead and do my DCA today versus tomorrow. I know Buck is probably right now going, we'll see, sir, we'll see. But we are sitting at a ×2 DCA level on Bitcoin today for the DCA. Looking at Bitcoin dominance, it has fallen down to 62.1% with stables. Without stables, sitting at about 66.82, getting a sharp pullback there on the Bitcoin dominance. And then, yeah, let's jump over to the bookmarks and let's go take a look at what we have there. Fear and greed right now sitting at 70. We are in greed today. Why are we moving? Why are we pumping? Why are the markets all green on the macro side of TradFi side, I should say? It's because of this. America's tariffs on China, 145% now down to 30%. China's tariffs on America was at 125, now down at 10% for the next 90 days. So that is their meeting that they had in Geneva. I do have a video. Let's see if I can get this to play here. All the audio issues that we're having, we'll find out. But yeah, this is the actual discussion that took place. So
to what was a very positive process, we have reached an agreement on a 90-day pause and substantially moved down the tariff levels. Both sides on the reciprocal tariffs will move their tariffs down 115%. We had very robust discussions. Both sides showed great respect.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to bring up, though. Moving that down 125% down to 10% and then 145 down to 30. So that will take place for 90 days, a 115% cut on both sides in that agreement. So let's move on here. Looking at Michael Saylor at Strategy, he's acquired 13,390 Bitcoin for $1.34 billion, paid about $99,856 per Bitcoin. So another week of buying for Michael Saylor. And then let's talk about the events coming up this week because we got a lot going on. Tomorrow we're going to get CPI inflation. That's going to be an interesting number to see because we should be starting to see the effects of the tariff scare and the tick that people have been putting on prices. So, like for example, Hallmark was already raising prices on goods, and they don't. Their stuff's not even made in China. It's made in Kansas, from what I understand. So, we could see some CPI data coming out tomorrow with inflation. That is because of tariffs, but not necessarily directly because of tariffs. So, OPEC monthly report on Wednesday. That's going to be oil. April PPI inflation. That's the producer price inflation. That is going to be on Thursday. April retail sales on Thursday, and then we get Jay Powell going to be talking on Thursday, and then MI consumer sentiment on Friday. We're going to be looking at all of that in a second. Yep, we got Bitcoin conference coming up in about 15 days. Could see something off of that. I'm curious to know, though, because if I am not mistaken, I believe that we have typically had market pullbacks during the Bitcoin conference. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens at the timing of this one. And then, yeah, this is the thing that we need to be watching now. But guys, remember when I used to talk about watch the 10-year yield? We're back to watching the 10-year yield. Why? Trump raises tariffs, yields rise because inflation is back. Trump cuts tariffs, yields rise because growth is back. Trump does nothing, yields rise because the Fed won't cut rates. Today, the bond market becomes Trump and Bessent's top priority. Bessent, that's that guy, right there. That's him. So, yeah, 10-year yield is what we are now watching closely because it is creeping up on that 5 points. And so that 5.00, not a good place for it to be. I think that's it on X marks the spot. Let's go over, check out the liquidations for the past 24 hours. The past 24 hours, 149,890 traders were liquidated. The total liquidations coming in at 403.13 million. Single largest order that got liquidated was Bitcoin. It was at 4.27 million bucks. Let's take a look at what the price is doing here. We are getting a little bit of an hourly pullback here on the markets. Okay, so keep that in mind. But on the daily, still looking green. Bitcoin is up about 0.3% on the daily, sitting at $104,000, just a little bit above that. We are at a critical level of resistance, and I'm going to show that in a moment, guys. So hang tight. Ethereum is up to $2,563, getting a nice tear up of 3.3%. XRP moving up and taking Tether out of its spot, guys. It's up 10.8% today. XRP, we've been talking about XRP in our DCA, altcoin DCA over in the Discord too, and yeah, that one's really ripping. Of course, Ethereum did all of its work last week. So, what else? Any big movers? Solana's up 5.6%. We got Dogecoin up 4.5%. Cardano ADA up 6.2%, sitting at 84 cents. So there you go, ADA Ace. It's above that level there for you. SWI is at 3.9%. Chainlink's up 5.2%. Not at $800, but it is at 17.42 there, $17.42. Stellar Lumens. This is the one that we added to our DCA plan about 3 weeks ago, and it is up 7.6% today. HBAR, that's another one that's in our DCA plan. It's up 9.8%. Pi Network, garbage. But it is up 17.2% if you can ever get your liquidity out of it because, yeah, they won't let you sell it at most of the places. I had an article last week talking about that and did not have time to get into it, but Pi Network having all kinds of issues. People can buy it. They just are having trouble getting rid of it. So let's go jump over here and talk about the stock market and what we're seeing. Why are you still playing? Yep. There we go. Stop. There we go. Perfect. Let's look at the U.S. markets here this morning, guys. We're up on the Dow Jones by 2.49%, up on the S&P.
We have
you are still playing. I'm going to have to stop you, sir.
An agreement.
There we go. Sorry about that. Looking at the S&P, it is up 2.72% today, up about 154 points. The NASDAQ's up 3.63% today. The Russell 2K is up 3.7%, and the VIX is under 20. Can we get a shout out for that? Love to see the VIX settle down a little bit under that 20 mark. Is very bullish for the market. So we need to look at gold. I want to take a look at gold. And OC, get that chart ready because gold is getting some pullback. And I want to talk about what's funny about this. Gold is down 3% today. Silver's down, copper's down, platinum's down, palladium's down. We got the oil bouncing back up above 60 today. but the bonds not getting that downward motion. It's at 4.41% right now. So the markets are really getting a move. Gold is losing its footing, and oil is showing that we are not looking overly recessionary right now. And the reason that I find that interesting is because Bitcoin is pumping while gold is dumping. We talked about that gold narrative. May not be as much of a correlation there as we were talking about before. So tomorrow, guys, core inflation rate coming in was previously at 0.1. They're expecting the core inflation to be up 0.3 to 0.2%, 0.2 to 0.3, I should say, I guess. And that's going to be an indication that a return of inflation. If this happens, it's very likely that Jay Powell is not going to cut rates anytime soon, because you can't cut rates when inflation's going up. The whole purpose of raising rates is inflation, right? The whole purpose of cutting them is inflation coming down. So looking at that tomorrow, core inflation year over year is supposed to be neutral. But if we look at this rate month over month if we include food and energy, which is what core inflation does not include, that is at negative 1%, negative 0.1%. It's expected to be up to 0.3%. That's about a 4% difference there that we could be seeing than inflation year over year, expected on the forecast to be higher, neutral in the consensus. So tomorrow, big data point coming in. That's going to be that core inflation. This is going to be at 6:30 my time, 8:30 a.m. on the East Coast. So guys, tomorrow, if we're going to see any pullbacks in the markets, market scare, tomorrow could be the factor that does that. Of course, this evening we could get some volatility to spike up because people are worried about this data tomorrow. Looking here on Thursday, we got PPI, and this is another one of those points, 0.6% of producer price inflation, meaning the price that it cost, the inflation effect on the producers that manufacture goods, right? So that's expected to be up over 0.5%. So that Thursday could be another factor coming in also. And then we're going to get an initial jobless claim, so on and so forth. And then Friday, building permits, housing starts, and that Michigan consumer sentiment actually expected to be a little bit higher. So we'll have to see. One on the lower side, one slightly higher for the consumer sentiment report. Let's go talk about what we're seeing on the chance of a rate cut now. So looking at June 18th, this is FOMC rate decision. 91.8% chance that we see no change for June. Let's look at July now. This has moved up. 61% chance of no change in June. So no rate cut in June, no rate cut in July. Looking at September, this is the first time that we start to get in to see a little bit of hope. That's a 79.5% chance of a rate cut, but we're now moved up to a 20% chance of no rate cut as far out as September. There were a lot of people speculating on Wall Street talking about 4 rate cuts this year. And I said, I really don't see how that's going to happen with the data that I'm seeing. And now we're starting to see that play out. I'm thinking that we get 1 this year, maybe. So let's talk about Bitcoin set for a $150,000 Bitcoin price rally as the U.S. and China agree to slash tariffs, guys. Get out of here. Get out of here, banner. There we go. Bitcoin broke above 105.7 after the U.S. and China agreed to slash those tariffs and confirmed a bull flag breakout on the weekly price projects, $150,000 is where it's projected for a target on that. Bitcoin bulls cheered a major development in the ongoing U.S.-China tariff talks, with cryptocurrency climbing over the 105.7K mark on May 12th for the first time in 4 months, further confirming a bullish continuation setup to $150,000. Let's get down here and look at this. The agreement triggered a broad-based market rally with S&P futures going up last night at 2.8%. Shout out to Lunar Beaches. He talked about this on a show last night. And the U.S. dollar gaining 0.7%. In contrast, gold dropped 2.3%, signaling a shift away from safe haven assets. Bitcoin, often seen as a high beta risk asset, has suffered under the weight of the trade war. With increased investor caution suppressing crypto inflows, the truce now signals improved liquidity and risk appetite. And then that bull flag breakout that they're talking about, that is this little flag right here where it was flagging down and then pumping up. And this is looking at a weekly chart right there. So if you guys do not know, now you know. There it is. That's what they're talking about for that breakout, giving us a breakout target of $150,000. Let's go over here. Let's talk to OC for a second, because OC, You're going to pull up gold in a second when I get done looking at Bitcoin here, but there's something interesting. I don't know if you know this, but at the Bitcoin conference here in about 2 weeks, Peter Schiff, the gold bug himself, is speaking at the you got something white right there in your mustache, some coffee creamer on your mustache there, OC. There you go. I don't want people in the chat like he had something on his mustache the whole time. Coffee creamer, gotta love it. Anyway, Peter Schiff is talking at the Bitcoin conference, and everyone has been like, "Why is the gold bug anti-Bitcoin guy talking at this conference?" And before, it was setting up as a situation where he could have been there talking about how badly Bitcoin was doing while gold was ripping off. And it's like the closer we get to Peter Schiff being on a stage at the Bitcoin conference, it may be gold dumping back while Bitcoin is moonshotting. So it's going to be interesting to see what he says at the Bitcoin conference. I cannot wait to see that. But your thoughts on this with gold pulling back? Is this temporary, or do you think that gold has done its run? And we'll bring up your chart after I get done with Bitcoin. But I just want to hear your thoughts on it first.
Absolutely. So I believe that nothing has changed, all but the sentiment of Bitcoin lately. Why? Because I mentioned last week that I believe that right now, who is pumping the markets of gold, it is the newer traders, right? And I'm not talking about newer or younger traders in age, but in where they were born throughout this market, right? Because if you are recently born, well, then what was your go-to asset? I would say the highly probable that was Bitcoin and gold, right? And since we've been seeing that much adoption from Bitcoin lately, not only that, the price going back up as it did early pumps and then stabilizing as other assets were falling, well, then that really speaks about a Bitcoin, right? And talking about all of the untrust on the fiat market, which I don't want to get tinfoil hatty at this point, but it seems like we're just losing that, trust on our monetary system, which was talked on previous reunions of, let's just leave it like that, right? Previous global reunions. Let's just say that. And then at this point, well, then what is the next logical point? Either metals or Bitcoin or digital assets, right? Nobody wants to do CABC because, that is government related, and Bitcoin, it should be, the people's coin, right? The people's money. So when things start getting hairy, so where you go to gold. And then when things start getting not looking that dangerous, well, then you go to a more risky asset, which again, it doesn't need to be about who's the leader of that company, who's the investment in that company. Are they really going to change the future or not, right? Our bar is going to be getting better or not, so on and so forth. So what is the next thing out of that kind of like I would say, eye of the hurricane, which, by the way, I'm talking about electric cars, because that's one of the most important factors that were attacked or being surged by the tariff, right? Because of batteries created in China, right? And then some other like BYD, stuff like that, right? So where you go to Bitcoin. That's the only thing that is not affected by tariff. So I think that is just a natural money moving from one place to another. But I would say do not make that mistake of thinking that we are changing at this point gold by Bitcoin, because gold has been here for at least 2 other WWs, right? World Wars, and Bitcoin has not. So we need to take that into a factor. What I do want to see, and we're seeing that capital going from gold to Bitcoin and from Bitcoin to gold. That's what I want to see, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then skipping fiat all across.
We're actually getting a dump right now on Bitcoin. So let me jump over here and talk about this, because I warned on the thumbnail that we were at a critical resistance, right? That we needed to be able to break through. Guys, you can see Bitcoin right now is dropping down. Got a nice rejection right here off of this 887 at 105,400. once we got that rejection there, that was pretty much a top out off of that China tariff. We do have the oscillator ribbon coming down. And I was wondering about this anyways, because we were at this resistance on the 4-hour. We started to print all these bearish divergences over and over. 1, 2, we had a VWAP overbought, and then we got a peak seeker that printed right there that said, hey, guys, you might want to consider getting out because this might be the top peak. So we are seeing some stuff on the 4-hour. Mind you, it's not a long-term play out. These can play out in this little period of time right here. We do have a level of support at $101,881. But the level that I was talking about for the actual resistance level is my gold line here. This is my gold platinum pockets, or my gold pockets, trend-based 618. Pulled these out like 9 months ago. A lot of people watching right now on X, so they're not typically here watching on the show. So if you guys are watching on X, these are trend-based fib extensions that you pull from cycle lows to cycle highs of previous cycles. So this golden pocket here was actually pulled off of this low to this high to this low, and that gives us a trend-based fib to project where we would hit at. Historically, Bitcoin rejects in that range of that trend-based fib, except for back here in 2017. We did have an outlier, broke a little bit above it before it came back in, but we were watching this about 9 months ago here on the channel, and if you look at right now on the 3-day chart, what are we getting? A lack of candle body coming in. Let me get some chunky candles up here. Hashtag chunky candles. We are getting a lack of candlestick body getting above this 0.618, and that's $103,552 right now, pulling back below that again. So this is that critical resistance that I put on the thumbnail that I'm watching, and then right now, as of this candle print on the 3-day, we are not able to get back above that level. Someone said that weekly, close on that $150,000 target. He's absolutely right. Is not closed yet. That weekly candle is going to be going on for this entire week. It just started, and that breakout that we may have gotten, yeah, sure, that's there, but we could easily come back in and retest this thing, which would put us all the way back down to like $85,000 range. If you do a retest, the OC retest could bring us down to those levels. Keep in mind, around $91,000, we do have quite a bit of moving averages here, SMAs, 50, 100 days, so on and so forth. We are getting kind of a doji candle right now too on this 4-hour. Let's jump over and take a look at what I'm seeing on the heat map. I want to talk about that, and let's just show you what we're seeing on the heat map. I'm looking at the 6-month right now. See if it loads. There we go. Yeah, so we do have a little bit of a liquidity heat map right above us here, up to about 109,000. But if we was to lose this level and go, okay, we cleaned all this out here, we need to go back and clean out all of this liquidity below. Guys, that stuff's coming in about that $90,000 level also, which is right there in line with what we were just seeing there on that chart for a retest of that flag breakout would put us right there around that also. So that's what I'm watching there on Bitcoin. We are at a critical level, getting a little bit of a doji. That means uncertainty right now on the candle. But let's jump back over here, and then you can bring up gold and whatever else you're looking at, OC. But shout out to CVO trading in the house, man. CVO is in here with us. If you guys don't follow CVO, you need to. Absolutely brilliant, man. Shout out to Frank the Tank. Shout out to Alexandra G, our mod queen. Mike Play, JR, Darren Does Things, and everybody else that decided to join us today. We appreciate you all. I see you, Crypto Princess. How you doing? Your Highness. Oh, thanks for joining the Academy today. OC, let's kick it over to you and see what you're looking at. If you guys haven't done so, smash that like button. It helps us out immensely. I know I hate saying it, and I know you guys hate hearing it, but fact of the matter is it's the evil of YouTube, and it helps us out a lot. So OC, let's kick it over to you and see what you're seeing on gold, and then let's get into a little bit of altcoin talk.
Absolutely. Very, very exciting. What we're talking about, we're just seeing the inverse correlation from gold and Bitcoin at this point. Look at that. You just showed how Bitcoin is dropping down in 4 hours with that candle. Oh, come on, don't move out of the way. And we see at the same point, or at the same time, gold going back up. Just be careful at this point, because yes, we are in support, and we've been trading this big triangle. And remember, this is where we left out, and I told you guys, well, then first looking for a possible bounce at the dynamic reactor on our flip of the ribbon on the zero line. And if we do not flip on the zero line, well, then we're looking for a bottom flip. We already have oversold. Seems like we already have a peaking here, and we have a possible reversal. We have a absorption candle here, or a hammer, and then what we have, a bullish candle. So I will be saying that this could be a good entry for gold. Remember, you need to set your stop loss because we're not out of the blue. In fact, we are below the dynamic reactor, and that makes things a little uncertain. All right, so let's just show you what could be going wrong in here. If we bounce in here and we don't hold it, so basically we bounce out of this area by making something like that, something like this, well, then we could be having this movement, but right here, and we will be losing the support. Let me show you a little bit more how would that look like. There we go. And this could be what we could be looking for or happening. All right. So be careful with this possible entry on gold. Still, I believe that we are at the bottom. And as Bitcoin might be dropping for a very well-deserved pullback, well, then I think gold will be rising. Something important that I want to talk about Bitcoin. Let me just get it right here very quickly, just to make the direct comparison. It is, and where is it? There we go. That we are also in a support zone. So I would say that Bitcoin, or I would like to see Bitcoin breakout, retest, off we go, to create a much stable trend line. Look at that. We basically would have it right there. All right, so either grabbing it from here or grabbing it from there. I think this could be the trend line that we should be looking for, not only because this trend line is much more stable and less steep, but also because it coexists with the center medium of that megaphone. So that will make sense that gold will be going upwards, maybe create a dead cat bounce, and then flopping back down. Because if we look at gold's price action, well, then it's being a very nice bull run. And I mean, this is looking like a double top if we lose this area. What would be the next target? Well, then where is previous highs and lows? Where dynamic reactor it's going to be. So most likely bouncing out of this area and then continuation to the downside. But it remains to be seen. This is too soon to be speaking about this kind of retracement on gold and that kind of pump on Bitcoin. But we do have that triple bearish divergence on the daily gold. That's what I got for gold, Piper. We just need to be careful. If you are going to be jumping in here, jumping with half of a position, set your stop loss, and then let it run, or look at or wait for that stopped out and move your money to Bitcoin, because I think it's going to be inverse correlated.
Back and forth, back and forth. I like it. Let's talk about this article, OC. This is crazy. This happened in Las Vegas. Teens kidnap Las Vegas man at gunpoint, stealing $4 million in crypto. The teenage trio allegedly told the victim they had his dad and would unalive him if he didn't fork over the passwords to his account. So let's get down and talk about what happened here. 3 teenagers have been accused of kidnapping a man at gunpoint after he was returning from a crypto event in Las Vegas before driving an hour outside the city and robbing him of $4 million in crypto and NFTs, non-fungible tokens. According to the police, the incident occurred last November. The victim had finished hosting a crypto-related event in downtown Las Vegas, and when he returned home, the suspects forced him into a vehicle, drove him to a remote desert area an hour away from the city. There, they forced him to hand over passwords to his accounts, according to a May 10th report from Las Vegas local news outlet 8 News Now. The man was allegedly told to comply with the teen's demands if he wanted to live to see another day, and because they also had his dad and would kill him, according to the report. It's also alleged that a fourth person may have been communicating with the 3 young men through a phone call during the incident, which the victim could hear through a speakerphone. After having his account drained of $4 million in crypto and NFTs, the victim reportedly had to walk 5 miles back to the desert to reach a gas station where he could call a friend for help. The two 16-year-olds from Florida are facing charges, including robbery, kidnapping, and extortion in connection with the incident. A third teen allegedly involved in the plot has left the country. Prosecutors say one of the young men is behind bars with bail set at $4 million, while the others have been released. The other has been released under house arrest with electronic monitoring. A preliminary hearing is scheduled for June for the teens set to be tried as adults. Holy cannoli, holy balls, as Alexander G would say. Yeah, man, like I don't know what I would be more pissed off about, honestly. The fact that I lost $4 million, or the fact that you made me walk 5 miles back to the desert, back to Las Vegas. Somebody's catching some heat for that one. I'm just saying. Like, why did you unload a second round magazine into this individual? The first one was for my money. The second one was because 5 miles. That's why. But yeah, holy hell. OC, your thoughts on this? Because we've been seeing these. I've been showing you these, like in South America. We've seen it over in Europe and all these places. All of a sudden, here we are over in Europe too, like Eastern Europe. But here we are. This happened in Las Vegas, man. Snatched them up in $4 million robbery. What are your thoughts on that, man?
Oh man, I know. I would say that we need to be cautious of what kind of thefts are playing out, right? Some of the headlines might be a little bit worrying, but here's a little bit of a setup that we have going on right here in Mexico. The lower the crime, right, the most like robbery or theft to a lower level, that indicates high poverty, right? Or jobs number not actually reflecting what's going on. Higher, bigger thefts usually represent, well, higher organization and somebody behind it. So I would say if that is happening, well, then we need to see who's behind it and how to counteract that, right? Because that will speak a lot of what's going on at the society at that point, and the sentiment of that society. At the end of it all, sentiment of society changes market perspective and changes consumerism, right? Which in its core, well, changes stocks. So yeah.
Yeah, shout out to Alex O Crypto dropping over here. He said, I don't see your OG Monday. Bro, it's because dishwashing Saturday and laundry Sunday did not occur. I thought about all of that this morning and I knew you were going to say something. Don't worry. We'll do OG. We'll do OG Wednesday this week, I think. Well, OG Wednesday for the Alex O gang. Shout out to Alex O Crypto. My dog is in the house. My otter. He's not my dog. He's my otter's in the house. Yeah, this morning went to go get the mug, dirty. Went to go get my shirt, no laundry done. So that's because it was Mother's Day. So I did not think to do laundry for, on Sunday because I was at dinner. Mother's Day. Did you call your moms? Did everyone call their moms on Mother's Day and say, hello, I love you, and thank you for bringing me into this world? I hope so. Shout out to all the Otter gangs, though. All the OGs crushing in here. Appreciate all of you guys. All right, OC, let's take a look at some altcoins. We had some big movers on alts today. Some of them, let's just go through the list here real fast again. XRP was up, crushing it. What else was there? XRP, Stellar Lumens, which is right there along the lines of XLM movement, and then HBAR. So if you want to take a look at a couple of those, let's do that. And then I want to go take a look at what we're doing for SWE real fast also. So let me bring up SWE, and then you can get HBAR, XLM, XRP ready. And then that should take us to the end of the show. Looking at SWE though here, guys, we are in this range, and I called out this trade on to the hackers. It's one of the other things that Alex O, myself, and OC do, and I've been watching this level right here, and you can see we've hit it several times. I said this is the entry level at about 387, right? 387 and a half. That was the entry level, and now I'm watching it again. I think we're going to come back here again on this thing, but it has been doing pretty decent. It went all the way up to about 430. On that wick there when on the announcement for the trades, but we are getting a downtrend now. I think I will go ahead and close out this trade Took some profit at the 50% mark, anyways, but I think I'll close out the rest of this thing. Why? Because money flow is starting to curve down, and it looks like the volume's getting a little bit flat here. So the air is getting hot, my beer is getting flat, and so when you see that money flow start to come down like that with the downtrend, with the downward oscillating ribbon there, it does give you a little bit of pause for concern. Let's jump over here and look at this on the daily, and let's see what we're seeing on the multi-oscillator setup. Oh, sweet, where are you? Sweet. There we go. Let's go see what we got here. Oh yeah, perfect rejection off of the 236 up here. That's the fib level that I was watching here on the daily for SWE. It's coming off of this low down here when we had a nice little bounce and then upwards to its peak. Now it is getting that rejection on the 236. Had a double top there of wicks bouncing off of that. We do have a 200-day coming up about $3.33, but we're starting to get flat on the MACD. Oscillator ribbon looks like it's starting to flatten out and come down, getting a lot of curvature here on the MVP oscillator for the daily, and you can see the RSI prime has got a flat top haircut, looking a lot like Jack Nicholson in A Few Good Men right there. So that's what I'm watching on SWE. Look for a little pullback. I would watch for about $3.60 here. For the first level of support, it's going to be your 382 coming in line with the quantum reactor, and that 200-day coming in right beneath it at about 333. That's what I'm seeing on SWE. See, let's kick it over to you, and let's see what you're watching, what you're seeing on those other alts, man.
Absolutely. So looking at Ethereum finally moved, and it did a great job. I mean, I would say on Ethereum, this actually was a very nice movement of Ethereum. Well, then I need to see the pullback because this needs also at least I would say a half or 1/3 of a pullback. If that's going to happen, well, then I'm going to be looking for my re-entry right there. Look at that. We have some bearish divergence in here, and I would love for it to break down back down. Let's do that little trick that we're learning here. So let's measure the whole thing, and then we're going to be looking for 1/3, all right, and 1.5 for possible retracement. So right here and right there, slightly above. Let's just move this one where it should be. There we go. Those are going to be the lines of support that we're going to be looking at. And let's confirm that if we have some sort of order block or some support line. Oh, look at that. We do have a support line in 1/3. I don't know why. This is kind of like a Fibonacci numbers, man. It always plays out magically for some reason. But yeah, just basically looking at that percentage of retracement, we're going to be looking for a 2,370 area of possible reentry. We were talking about also BRENT, right, or oil. So guys, this is a woof. I think we dodged a bullet kind of deal. Why? Because we were look at the price action of oil, right?
I gotta pump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers in this racket.
Oh, man, yeah. When we are that low on oil, we start getting worried about the confirmation for a actual, I don't know, correction in the big markets, right? Remember back in, what was it? Well, in COVID dump, Elon Musk was asking the president to pump the numbers of oil because that wouldn't be, or I mean, the prices at that low wouldn't be that good for the economy. Something important to note, and let's zoom in, is that we have something like a double bottom. This is big. Why? Because if we have a neckline right here, well, then our possible target, and this is a measured target, all right, just so you know, from the book, would be back above dynamic reactor, which could be taking us, it's not about the breakout, it's about the retest, and off we go to previous highs, basically turning back around into a bullish scenario, which could be or bring some stability to the oil prices, and of course to the rest of the food and transportation that we might be seeing. Another thing that I'm looking at on the daily, and especially on the 4 hours, it is WIF meme coin. It's been pumping. It's been pumping. Look at that craziness. We had that pole, that little red triangle here, that bullish pennant, and then break back up. Look at what we have here, an inverted hammer. And what are we expecting? What are we looking for? Well, then let's do the same tricking here. Let's measure the whole movement, and then we're looking for a third or a half away retracement. Let's bring up some other stuff here. Do we have anything in the middle? somewhere around here, but let's see if we have anything else for that support. Maybe we can see something in here. Well, right here we could be having, this is not for sure because this is not low enough, a smart money entry. And other than that, well, we have a
Got a
pretty
nice
good
little
range.
volume gap there on that too.
Oh yeah, you know what? I was not aware of that. Yes, you are correct. What else could we be looking at? Oh,
I'd set that support right below it. Look at that pivot. Yep.
Yeah.
There's mother's milk. Mother's milk there.
Absolutely right here. But I would say that it's a little bit too far to look at it. But yeah, I mean, and of course, like, do you remember that I used this volume profile bar magnifier order block by Jacob Maccabee as my falling knife or impossible target setup, right? Look at where we got a support and look at where we have a resistance. Do not expect back this support soon. So when it start moving or when we start getting there, well, then what we want to see is break our retest and then you take the next advantage here, all right? In the meantime, we're going to be looking in an area somewhere around here. I'm going to be doing the most upper alert in here, like that, just so I'm prevented. And finally, I want to, before I pass it over to you, I want to look at, and where is it? I just lost it. There you go. I want to look at BNB because BNB today had a complete reversal. If we take a look at this on the higher time frame, let's go for the, oh, not even 12 hours. There we go. On the daily, we have a big absorption zone. This is not great. Again, it's not about your breakout, right? It's about your retest. And I believe that, again, we could be looking at a half the way retracement or even dynamic reactor retracement. So if you're into Binance or BNB, well, then I would suggest looking at it throughout this week for a retracement to dynamic reactor, somewhere around 624 as we break through that 0 line. Other than that, that's basically what I got, Piper. Let me turn it back to you.
Awesome. Just setting up for our redirect here. We're going to be raiding over to Crypto Coin Mindset today, guys. So right after this episode, I want to talk about some levels that we're hitting here because I had done all the scoping out on this morning for Bitcoin. Going back to that, I want to talk about these levels. They're CME gaps. We had a bunch of these little tiny gaps that we were watching here on the charts. We had one here this morning from the 9th of May. It is now closed. Get out of here. You're gone. Go. We still have one sitting here from the 8th of May, and I'm looking at this on the daily. We did do a little bit of a cleanup here on it because it would have been up to here, and so we've done this little tiny bit. But overall, guys, we've got one running down to about 1017. That's a CME gap. We still have one from 7 May that's had a little bit of a clean out there on it, that little wick right there. But as of right now, we still got that one. That one comes down to about 96,000. And we were talking about that 101 level or that $91,000 level, guys. That's going to be this one from April 22nd that still has not been cleared out from the close that we had here on a Tuesday. And everyone was like, why is there one on a weekday? Well, it's because futures, do a reset and then it reopens, and that opened all the way up here. We've cleaned out part of it right now on the second wick that we had here on Thursday the 24th, but we still have the CME gap sitting all the way down. It's taking us to that $91,000 level also, so be aware of that. I want you guys to keep an eye on that $91,000 level, seeing a lot of confluence for support down there on that. Of course, keep this in mind too. You guys can see this candle right here from this point to this point. This is all a fair value gap. So you got a CME gap and then a big fair value gap in there also that we could just come down to clean that out. And that would be as low as 88,000. So looking at that heat map that we were looking at, that is in line with what we're seeing on there. That's coming all the way down to about $89,000 at the bottom level of all that liquidity on the heat map there. So I just wanted to point that out. Seen a lot of confluence in that lower $90,000 range. 90-ish thousand. It's 91 to 88,000. And the CME gaps lining up with that also for those support levels that we're seeing down there. So it's about 8:55 right now, guys. We got about 5 minutes until Crypto Coin Mindset. Keith and Trade Intuition going to be over there for that. So they're going to be talking about some stuff on the markets this week and looking at some charts, some technical analysis also. But OC, I appreciate you, alumni, everyone that joined us here today. 141 people total right now. We got 104 here on YouTube, and then about another 40 watching us on X. So we appreciate everybody. Guys, if you haven't done so yet, if you're a member already, check out the DCA. All the DCA numbers were dropped this morning for the Piper plan. We're at a 2x on Bitcoin, and I don't know what else we had there. Let me check and just see. We are on. Let me go in here and look. Altcoin DCA strategy. We got Render, Litecoin, HBAR, XLM, Link, Sui, ADA, Doge, Solana, XRP, and Ethereum all dropped this morning for those levels that you need to be watching for DCA. The only one that was not, the only two that were not on a DCA today because of the level of risk that they're at was XRP and Solana. So they are pumped up pretty hard right now. Matter of fact, XRP even hit into a profit-taking window if you're looking to take some profit. So if you guys are members already, click down, down below, you click that join button. That gives you access to all of our Piper plan for DCA into altcoins and Bitcoin. And if you guys are members already, go check it out. They dropped this morning. Every Monday, I drop those things. But OC, what do you got for people on the way out? What do they get if they smash that like button today, man?
Absolutely, guys. Thank you so much for joining today. And a real quick reminder that if you here in Piper Academy, it's the only show where you get a power up if you smash that like button today. If you smash that like button, you will always be having a good friend that tells you when you have something on your mustache.
That's right. That's right. Smash the like button. I will always let you know. Appreciate you all. We will be back here tomorrow morning. Don't forget to tune in today to Trade with OC. He's going to be doing that this evening. Also, today for the VIP session in our Discord, guys, for the alumni. OC is going to be running that. I will be on, but I will not be able to share screen. I got some training that I have to do today with my dog. So I'll be at that, but I will be on my phone and with my headset in. But yeah, so make sure you guys tune into that. OC is going to talk a little bit about the DCA stuff and some other things. I'm sure he's got something up his sleeve. He always does. And then Trade with OC. Markets After Dark. That's going to be this evening. Tomorrow morning, BC Port Court, bringing it back to you guys for Good Morning Crypto. And we'll be back at 10 a.m. talking about those CPI numbers that are coming out tomorrow, guys. Until then, trade safe. And as always, use some risk management. We'll catch you guys tomorrow morning. Peace.
I don't know what they keep telling me. Ain't no school like Piper Academy. We'll keep that front line covered, even when we're dead and gone. We'll find a way to keep going, cause we gon' keep on rolling after wheels fall low. I know you hungry for knowledge, that's profit appetite. Classes in session, this for the Army Piper acolytes. Trade flag at the soul, train ready. What a line from OCI, former Mexican spaghetti. Yo, crunch crypto with a deep dive to reject dime. And if you like the visual powered by Car Prime, then you want part of that not a source spine. But if you have step, fall back to offline. Boom shakalaka! We'll keep that front line covered, even when we're dead and gone. We'll find a way to keep going, cause we gon' keep on rolling after wheels fall low.
Richard, to get with them, the ZTS rhythm. Rip it, Alexandra.
Yeah, that's my alumni, you know what I mean?
You can't handle the truth.
That was awesome, dude.